Here we are. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
It's Victoria and my friend
Reverend Asha.
Reverend Asha. And we are actually in Reverend Asha's awesome barn.
We call it the Big Barn.
The Big Barn. It's super cool. It's where you have, well, right now you're having compassionate distancing gatherings.
Yes. Although right now we're starting to move into our house for our weekly community gatherings because this barn is very hard to heat in the wintertime. It is not an insulated building, so the concrete floor sucks up the cold, and I'm fine, but I have a lot of people that are just too cold.
Well, I love it too because I sent Asha a message earlier about it's I'm coming over to her place. We were going to sit outside, and it's sweater weather, sweater weather. So I'm all cozy in my sweater and my scarf, and I'm totally cozy. But here we are, and for those of you who do live locally, check out Reverend Asha's offerings. Where do they find you?
You would find me currently on Facebook under Asha Burson Johnson, Burson-Johnson. Our center activities are on hold during this time of COVID, and also while we work out a couple of conditional use permit issues on our property. But we're doing private gatherings a couple times a month. We also still have some activities, but it's basically come over to Asha's house. And that way we're being appropriate with the county regulations, because that's really important to us to stay in integrity.
That is awesome. And you have a Monday meditation on Facebook and YouTube? Or?
Facebook Live. I haven't figured out how to move things from Facebook to YouTube.
I can tell you how.
Oh, cool. Because I need to learn that. we do go Facebook Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock. Pacific time, and I do a half an hour meditation, and they're always available on our center webpage, CSLPA Facebook page, and so you can go back and look at past meditations and past talks.
So great.
So we have two Facebook pages, but most everything currently is being pushed through my personal one, but except the Monday meditation, because nobody comes to that. I just do that in my living room. So. We're very clear that
they just don't come physically. They're with you
definitely,
in spirit.
We have a lot of people that actually, I'll see sometimes 90, 100 views of a meditation, and I don't know who any of those people are.
Awesome.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, I'll just get some business out of the way. I just always think about, wanting people to know who you are and all the cool offerings you have. So here we are, and as we do, we just whatever topic kind of flows from us. But I will tell you, I have a topic on my heart. Not only does it fall in the letting go as one, which we talk about a lot, but have you been feeling tired and a little frustrated?
No.
And have you been feeling like, gosh, I don't know why I'm slugging through mud. I can't seem to do things that I used to, or it's just not working out. So I've been having that too. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I know we're in a Mercury Retrograde. So Mercury Retrograde, most people know about. Yeah. That's everything is, the planet doesn't go backward. It looks like it is, and it's an energetic thing that electronics, communication can be off. It's a time to review, reset, reconsider. But we also have Mars in retrograde. Okay, that's energy, how we move forward. But then there's a Uranus and Neptune I just found out about. And I was like, okay, so we have 4 planets in retrograde. No wonder I'm feeling like nothing is flowing. Or it's like the cha-cha. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And I got to tell you, and I've been really fatigued, just like, especially with the time of the change of getting darker earlier, which is still, as a Californian, it's like throws me off.
It's very weird. And we haven't even had the time change yet, which makes it more exacerbated. That's in another week or so.
Yeah, coming up. So about 7 o'clock, it's dark here. And it's like, I'm ready to go to bed. But I looked it up, and it just gave me such relief to know. I mean, that's why I like astrology. It's where you have an intuition, something's off, what is it? And it's just validation. And then to remind us all we're in a cycle of unfolding, right? So I wanted to share that because I know you've had some retrograde things happening.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not, everybody I've talked to recently in the last 3 or 4 days, they're like, what is going on? Right. I'm having computer issues. I'm having issues with time. I'm always on time. I am never late for things, especially very important things like doing talks. And I do a number of talks now online, on Zoom, on Sundays for other spiritual centers. And I was scheduled to do one yesterday. And I was just sharing with Victoria before we started that I almost missed it. I was tooling around doing some morning puttering on a Sunday morning like I normally do when I don't have anything else to go on. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, I'm supposed to be speaking in like 10 minutes. Luckily it's from my living room, so I don't have to drive anywhere, but I was not dressed. My hair looked crazy. So I got to just pull myself together. I got to first immediately forgive myself because I noticed I started to go into a little shame spiral because I don't miss stuff. I got people waiting on me. I was supposed to be there a half an hour beforehand. And I started to do a little bit of shame stuff. I mean, I just barely you know how you dip your toe into cold water? I just barely started to, and I went, no, we don't have time for that.
Good for you.
And I just said, it happened, get off your butt and get moving. And so I landed in my seat with Zoom connected, probably 5 minutes before I was ready to speak, and the other people waiting for me were relieved. And my talk was fine. But what I really was grateful for was my talk was about the game of life, where sometimes you pull a card that says, go back 2 spaces, or, don't pass go and collect $200, go to jail. We're not in charge of the cards we're dealt. We're not in charge of the dice rolls we roll. We're in charge of what we choose to be with in that experience. And so I said, well, this will make great fodder for my talk about self-forgiveness, about, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we just mess up. And we have a couple of options. We have a number of options. We can beat ourselves up. We can go into shame. We can defend. We can try to excuse whatever we did or didn't do. Or we can just say, well, that happened. What do I want to do now?
Yes. What do I want to do now?
And in improvisation, it's such a perfect tool to use in those moments because it says yes and. Yes, this happened, and now what do I want to do to move the scene, if we're doing an improv thing, the scene forward, or yes, and what do I want to do in this moment to move my life forward, to move this moment forward, to move this, what could be an overwhelming experience, whatever that is. How do I want to look at this, add some information to it, and move the whole thing forward? So that was a real great opportunity.
You know what I love about that is that, life is an improvisation. However, many of us are stuck in a script. We're stuck in the same old character. We're stuck in the same old dialogue, the same old thoughts that we think about, which you caught, like you started to go into shame, which meant you had a thought that preceded that emotional response of shame. And you're like, no, I'm going to improv. I'm going to do Asha in this moment, fresh, live, with honor, which to me is the opposite of shame. Yeah. And show up. So I love that. So that's really cool. It's not, life is not a set script. It's improv.
Every minute.
And you get to choose how you want to be and start over. And the second thing I love about that is that just showing up as we are, which is a real big message for me. When I started my own YouTube channel, I was like, what am I doing? I mean, I watch these other shows offerings, and they're so polished. They've got an intro and music and editing, and I just show up and hit play. And this is what we do with Sister My Soul too. So just showing up as we are. And I love to say, progress, not perfection. There is no perfection. That's an illusion. And yet still, like you found yourself in shame, I will find myself in the, questioning, is it good enough? Is anybody watching? The judgment, instead of the whole philosophy is just show up as you are and bring what you have to offer.
Yeah, that who do you think you are voice.
Oh man.
Who do you think you are?
Yes.
Well, I keep shifting the tone of that phrase to who do I think I am? I think I'm a child of the divine.
Yes.
In a human body. That has a painful arm and makes mistakes and sometimes gets cranky. And it's all part of who we're meant to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
And that's the thing I also remind myself of a lot. If I was not meant to be in a body, if spirit just wanted to be floating around in the universe as particles and atoms and energy, which we are anyway, then I would be that. But clearly, I'm here. In this particular body with whatever's going on with it,
Yes.
however it's feeling in the moment. I just started a new practice of doing a Qigong meditation movement in the mornings to see if I can kind of get my body to loosen back up again. And he says, just allow all feelings, all sensations, everything that's happening right now to be there.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, oh, I feel off balance, or oh, when I do this pose for a long time, my arm hurts. And just allow whatever's happening to be happening.
Yeah.
You know, I talked last time about surfing. You know, surf the waves of what's happening. Sometimes get crashed and tumbled. And with this game analogy, again, we're not in charge of the cards we're dealt. We're not in charge of the hand we're given.
Yeah.
We're in charge with what we do with it.
That's right. Yeah.
Even when it sucks.
Even when it sucks. And just to be curious about it. Why is this happening? I love to say, why is this happening for me? And we talk about curiosity a lot. And just, okay. And if you want to take it a bigger game for playing the game, which is, you know, that saying, Creator really trusts me here with this. And sometimes we say, I wish Creator wouldn't trust us so much. You're giving me too much here. Come on, slow it down. But this is what is, and this is what is my offering. And so, like, even with astrology and the belief that, you know, we do choose everything here, even our parents, to have these experiences.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, you know, we talk a lot about, too, spiritual being having this human experience. In those human moments to remember, I chose this. I'm practicing through this. I'm growing through this. This is the experience that is serving my soul, serving my unfolding, serving the unfolding of all. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Spiritual question. I love to make distinctions. So you said forgiveness. Forgiveness, self-forgiveness is so, so important, right? What's the distinction between self-forgiveness and grace in your mind? Because I love grace. I use that a lot. I offer myself grace. What's to put you on the spot?
Yeah, I love those kind of questions because it does make me take a step back and breathe and go, I'm all about words and semantics, so I appreciate these distinctions.
Yes.
Very much so, because the other thing that was popping into my mind was when things are going on, it used to be my question is what's mine to do here? More frequently, my question now is who am I to be in this now? Who do I want to be in this now?
Yes.
Frustrated or filled with grace?
Yes.
You know, so yeah, forgiveness for me these days, I'm going to talk a little bit because that's how I suss things out.
Sure.
I'm verbal and I get it out of my brain and in front of me with words.
Externally processing.
Yes, definitely. Forgiveness for me feels like a human, personal process where grace feels, you know, you don't have to do anything to have grace. Yes. There's nothing we need to do to earn grace.
Yes. Grace
just exists. Grace is that moment of spaciousness that I can fall into that allows me to forgive myself in that moment. So as I'm sitting here thinking about it, for me, forgiveness is a human construct because in the spirit, in the oneness, in Creator, there's no need for forgiveness. I remember watching a show about a medium and she said, people always are coming to me and like, I need my father to forgive me who passed away and I'm never going to be able to talk to him again. And she said, I just laugh because every person, every being that I contact on the other side, just is like, we have no room for that. You know, like everything is gone and forgiven. Right. All there is love.
Yes.
And so I see that as the divine. The divine is grace. So there's no need for forgiveness. Forgiveness is for us. It's a human construct.
Yes, I would agree. And I often say that too, once we shed this, some people call the human meat suit, our human bodies, there is nothing. In fact, I wrote a script when I was in LA, or an outline of a script that was about, I called it, what did I call it? It was something like, something in Bardo, like, breaking out of Bardo. Because Bardo is the place, I think it's the Buddhists that believe that we go and review, or something, I can't remember which tradition, but you review your life. How did it go? Well, it's a story I wrote, loosely based on my life, where the mother, who's an addict, dies, and the younger woman's left without her mother. And so the mother comes back in spirit. She takes over someone else's body to connect with her daughter. And when they wanted her to review her life, she says, the minute I left my body, I knew what I was meant to do. I knew I was meant to love my daughter, love myself, love my life the minute I left my body, right? Because we don't have in our human form all the limitations of thoughts and patterning and conditioned self. We're, like you said, we're just pure love. I have total chills right now. I got to get back to that script.
Yeah, I was going to say,
back in the
that
day,
sounds like a good story.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Well, basically, she just tries to connect her to her daughter and guide her through her life, which is what I wanted and needed at 19, 20. But I love what you're saying, and yes, so forgiveness is a spiritual tool that helps us return back to that spiritual essence.
Yeah.
Like I love that you said grace is, it just is. So we have these tools, these they're kind of like the cleaning tools, right? To clean and manage our vessel of all the stuff that gets stuck in there, resentment, anger, the stuff that we need to forgive for ourselves and others, so we can return and embody more grace and more love and more light, instead of all that other stuff that sort of gets collected on our human experience, and like suddenly, we're contaminating, not contributing.
Yeah. I had for myself a revealing exchange on Facebook this week. I had posted something about wanting that I stayed in the eye. I said I'm choosing to read more authors, people of color, these days, because I notice a lot of people on my bookshelf are white authors, and so I'm choosing to read people of color. And somebody responded with a kind of what felt like a judgmental comment about that. They didn't like that phrase. They felt that phrase was racist. And I just was like taken aback for a minute. And then I went, okay, I can react to this comment, or I can respond to this comment. And I took a while to come back to the comment. I took a walk. I thought, what is it I really want to accomplish if I'm going to choose to respond? Because I could just ignore it. Yeah. This was somebody I don't know responding to somebody they don't know on some weird innocuous comment, which is what happens on Facebook a lot. So I thought about, what is it I want to accomplish here? So I wrote back and I said, thank you for your comment. And I'm curious, because I want to go to curiosity, not judgment. I'm curious if you are wanting to have a respectful conversation about this topic, or just make a judgmental comment to someone you don't know. I'm fine either way. It just, I was making a judgment that the comment was judgmental. It felt that, because it was really terse. It was very brief, and it had no context. I wasn't really sure, what are you trying to say here? So I said that back, and I got back a very lovely response to my response, and they clarified what they meant in a respectful way. And I didn't feel like we needed to go any further with the conversation. So I responded again, thank you for your respectful reply.
Beautiful.
It shows that we can have civil conversation in this world today. And then we're done.
Beautiful.
We're complete.
Yes.
It just gave me a time to step back from my reactive, ego-based, I'm not racist. Well, she wasn't saying that. Yeah. It just was her reactive response. And so we actually were able to have a conversation, a brief Facebook conversation. And it felt like, I'm going to get some more space around this idea. That, right now especially, can get a little kooky in the next month, the next couple of weeks. Yes. And it's been a little kooky because everybody's stressed out. Yes. Yep. Everybody's tired. Mercury and all the other planets are in retrograde. Yeah. We're at this cuspy time. Yep. We've all been shut up and isolated for way too long. So everybody's on edge. Yes. Everybody's tense. Yes. And so can we give each other grace? Yes. Can we give ourselves grace in the moment to say, maybe I won't respond right now. Maybe I'll take 3 steps back. Yes. I went to the Women's March on Saturday. I have not chosen to go to many marches because we have elders in my house and I'm being really conscious. But this one felt like I wanted to go and attend, and it was downtown and it was well organized, and And so my sign, it was in honor of RBG and her wishes. And so I made a sign that had big letters RBG, and I wore it around my neck so I didn't have to carry it. And then originally I was going to say from each out of those letters, rebuke bad government. And then I went, no, I don't focus on what I don't want.
Yes.
I focus on what I do want.
Yes,
And that's also what I want to put out into the world. So what do I want to say? Again, taking permission to take a step back and really get clear. Who do I want to be when I'm walking down the street with my sign? So instead it said reimagine better governance.
Woohoo! Yes.
And it was not, that felt good to carry around. Because I could, reimagine better governance is very open.
Yes.
I'm not telling somebody what that means.
Love it. I love how we just, and I know we're going to be mindful, we're going to be only 30 minutes today, so we've got another 8 minutes. So the carry around, that's a visual. I don't want to carry this sign that's putting out something negative, but think about what we carry around every day in our mind and in our body.
Yeah.
And this is why.
And in our aura.
In our aura, yeah, our energetic field. This is why it's important. The retrogrades are just another layer of this unfolding transformational time. We still have Pluto and Saturn wanting to reform, to transform, and Jupiter expanding all the things we need to look at. But retrograde is let's look again and slower and review, reassess, all the RE words, right? So Uranus is big, it's quick and fast, innovative, impulsive transformation. And like there's a lot of this energy in the 60s, right? So we're reviewing, do we want to be reactive or effectively empowered responsive? So I really love that. And then Neptune is revisiting our dreams, what we envision, we imagine, the spirit beyond this human experience. So it's really purposeful, but it can be challenging. And so for me, like give myself grace, if we're tired, we're doing a lot of energetic work. We're doing a lot of, what are we carrying around individually, collectively? What from the past are we carrying that still hasn't been resolved? Yeah. That we have to deal with now? So we're doing a lot of big work, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, especially the energy workers, the empaths, the light workers.
Yes.
Yeah, we're carrying a lot.
Yes, so I think
extra.
to take that word and say, it's funny because this used to be part of my mission statement. I carry the light for the purpose of healing and transformation. And then I had all these health issues. And I was like, I ain't carrying nothing for nobody. No. That was part of my issue being an empath. Like, what do you got? Give it to me. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not carrying anything. So I was very mindful about that word.
Oh, I love
Even
that.
You say carry now, I'm like reactive, like, oh, friend, don't carry it.
Yeah, no.
So what's another word instead of carrying?
I let it flow through.
There we go. Let it flow through, or we're experiencing it. We can experience things out here, especially for empaths out there. Don't take it even into your energetic field. Put it out here and review it and assess it and be with it, right?
Yeah.
So let's let go of the carrying. But yeah, so I wanted to say that. So funny because I thought our topic was going to be let go because of fall and sweater weather. But I was like, we talked about that last time and probably the time before too. But all these things we talk about, it's not like, okay, that discussion's over, we move on. These are all moving parts in this transformation. Letting go, surrendering, trust, forgiveness, grace. Yeah. And what healing solvent or healing elixir do we need to be with what is so we can continue to contribute what we can, right? So I think I think we did good. We got into 30 minutes instead of 45. So thank you for being with us. Hopefully this shorter amount of time will allow you to stay with us and comment. We want to hear from you. We do this for you and us and the collective unfolding, and we're all in this together. So we want to hear from you. So thanks for being with us. Take good care until next time.
Bye.